Welcome everyone. My name is Nikos, aka Sephir, and this is Out of the Box, EDH. Since the full set of Aetherdrift was revealed, let's have a look at my favorite 8 commanders of the set, and in what ways we can build around them. First of all, in the 8th spot, we have Karadora, Heart of Alakria. Selesnya colors, 4 CMC for 2 Human Knight. When Karadora enters, you may search your library for a mount or vehicle card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature or vehicle you control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are put on it instead. This is a unique commander in terms of it allows you to build around a specific mount or vehicle that you otherwise couldn't do so. You want to build a deck around Mech Titan? Or Parhelion? Well, this is the commander to do so. In an entirely different direction, she is also a hardened scales effect in the command zone, so I imagine that a bunch of +1/+1 counter decks will also be interested in building her. In the 7th place, we have Redshift, Rocketeer Chief. Gruul colors, 2 CMC, 2/3 Goblin Pilot. Vigilance. Tap, add X mana of any one color where X is Redshift's power. Spend this mana only to activate abilities. Exhaust, 10, red-green, put any number of permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate each exhaust ability only once, This commander allows for a very interesting build when you need to balance carefully between pump spells and powerful permanents that you would want to cheat into play. The fact that the exhaust ability can be used only once doesn't really matter, since it won't be hard to kill the commander and then replay him. He has a low CMC cost after all, and you won't need more than 1 or 2 activations to actually take the game. At number 6 there is Achik, Emerald Radiant. Golgari colors, 6 CMC, 3/3 Insect Druid. When Achik enters, create a 1/1 green insect creature token for each artifact and/or creature card in your graveyard. Whenever another insect you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Achik. Each opponent loses 1 life. Now, don't get fooled. This is not an insect commander. I mean, it can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to. It is an excellent payoff for any graveyard-based creature or even artifact deck. Combine it with, perhaps, sacrifice outlets to abuse the insect production, and ways to return your commander back to the battlefield whenever it dies, to trigger its ETB ability again, and you have the skeleton of a very unique and fun deck. At number 5 we find Loot the Pathfinder. Temur colors, 5 CMC, 2/4 Beast Noble. Double strike, vigilance, haste. Exhaust, 1 green and tap, add 3 mana of any one color. Exhaust, 1 blue and tap, draw 3 cards. And exhaust, 1 red and tap, Loot deals 3 damage to any target. As most people have realized by now, flicker effects break the exhaust ability, since the game sees the flickered card as a new object and its exhaust abilities can reactivate. Temur Flicker is not a very usual concept, but Loot highly suggests exactly that. There are a good number of blue flicker effects. Cards like Displacer Kitten and Deadeye Navigator can literally break Loot. But this is probably the boring way to go. You can go in another route. Cloning and mutate. Yes, you heard correctly. Mutate. Mutating Loot with a non-legendary mutate creature can turn Loot into a non-legendary, easier to clone creature. And if you happen to clone that, you clone the mutate creature on it as well, which means it will trigger more mutate abilities that you might want to put on it. And of course, each clone can use its exhaust abilities once. All in all, there are many routes someone can go with Loot, and Temur is a very fun and powerful color combination to toy with. At number 4 we have Muyan Link, Wind Rider. Mono blue, 4 CMC, 2/4 Human Wizard Pilot. When this creature enters, create a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with Crew 1. Vehicles you control have flying. Whenever one or more creatures you control with flying deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Mono-blue vehicles is an interesting and fun concept. I personally own one such deck with Omen Kill at the helm, and I can say with total guarantee that Muyan Link is better in almost every aspect of the game. She's a draw engine on the command zone, she grants evasion, she immediately makes value with her ETB as well, and she leads a very respectful number of really good vehicles that were printed in blue in recent years. I guess you don't have to build here with vehicles in mind. Any flying creature will do, but I still think that vehicles will be the most fun variant of them all. Time to move to our top 3. At number 3, we have Captain Howler, Sea Scourge. Is it 4 CMC 5/4 Shark Pirate with Ward 2 Pay to Life. Whenever you discard one or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each card discarded this way. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw a card. What a fun commander! I have seen many people advising wheels with the captain. Sure, you can go that route if you want a more aggro version of it. Mass discard effects will pump a creature to oblivion, but you will only get one draw trigger from captain. To fully take advantage of his ability, you need to discard cards one by one. Cycling, madness, looting effects. All this can build a very interesting and unique in playstyle tempo deck that can go from control to aggro and back to control whenever it wants. At number 2 we have Ketramos, the New Dawn. Orzhov 3CMC 4/4 God, Menace, Lifelink, Indestructible. Ketramos can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Sure, you can build here with flickering effects in mind, or with spot removals that exile, etc., not unlike a run-of-the-mill run art deck. However, Graveyard Exile Matters decks were waiting a stellar payoff in the command zone for years. Ketramos is exactly that. Fill your deck with Exile Graveyard Matters cards and go to town. Mind you, exile cards one at a time will give you a much better payoff with Ketramos than mass exile effects. And at the number 1 spot, the title of the best commander of Aetherdrift goes to Gondi, Night Minister. Mono black 4 CMC 3/4 Aetherborn Rogue. Whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell this way. He is like the unholy child of Geeks and Prosper. He does so much. There are so many directions, so many different ways to build with him. You want to go aggro based with small evasive creatures to take advantage of his ability the most times? You can do it. You want to go political? To force your opponents to attack each other and manipulate the situations to see yourself on top? Sure, it seems like a very fun way to go. You want play from exile matters and artifacts matter? You can go to that direction as well. You can even build an artifact hate themed deck based on his ability. Or all these together, or a combination of those. He is fun, he is cool, he can be built in so many different ways, and thus he claims the top spot as the best commander of the Aetherdrift set. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.